The mystery of the drones over New Jersey gets, well, a lot weirder, as the White House says it's a case of mistaken identity. Are they kind of right, but also kind of wrong? Count on the residents of New Jersey to screw up getting anywhere near the truth. Let's get into it. Now, guys, this is the statement from John Kirby himself. So, and it was kind of a pain to find, but I think it's really important to hear the prepared statement that he made. The reason is because politicians, if you're not familiar with them, they very carefully word things so that they're true, but also say what they want to be true. So let's take a listen.
Particularly in and around New Jersey. We have no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or a public safety threat.
Okay. Again, I want to point something out. There are statements that are true, and there's statements that really say we have no evidence of. And this is really important because there are many things that are that there's no evidence of until it's too late, right? And I don't have evidence. If the drones were a national security threat, right, you wouldn't find out about it until it was eminently obvious, right? And saying it's not obvious that they're a threat is not the same thing as saying they are not a threat. Do you see what I mean? Right? So I just want to point out that we weren't able to get evidence to prove they're a threat. It's not the same thing as they're not a threat.
Or have a foreign nexus.
Again, we can't prove a foreign nexus is not the same thing as there is no foreign nexus. Just something to keep in mind.
Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not...
I want to point out that there's a huge emphasis here on the fact that the technologies are very sophisticated, guys. They're very, very sophisticated. And again, I think this is one of those things where it's pretty embarrassing for the White House. Like we talked about in my last video, it's kind of embarrassing for the country to be this vulnerable and be unable to verify one way or another that this is happening, right?
Not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels.
Now, wait. Now, this is sort of interesting because, again, there's a recent story that a Coast Guard cutter was trailed by some of these drones. And there was some weird phrasing here where they said they confirmed there was no foreign involvement. Why do you have this extra word in the statement? And again, guys, this sounds like I sound like a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not. I spent 7 years in the Department of Homeland Security. I understand how prepared statements are well prepared. And the answer is they're workshopped like very carefully. So if this was something he wasn't reading from a script, I'd say, everybody misspeaks. They say many when they mean all. They say some when they mean very few. But a prepared script doesn't make those kind of mistakes, right? So listen again to what he says.
Involvement from coastal vessels. Evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels.
So there was no foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels, which on one hand, he may be trying to say, listen, there is no weird Iranian mothership. But do you hear how many caveats he has to add there, right? That there's no foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels, which is a really weird, why couldn't they just say they've confirmed that there's been no involvement of any kind of coastal vessel at all, that these drones haven't been detected over the ocean, right? But he doesn't say any of those things, which is weird.
Importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace. Now, that said, We certainly take seriously the threat that can be posed by unmanned aircraft systems, which is why law enforcement and other agencies continue to support New Jersey and investigate the reports, even though they have uncovered no malicious activity or intent at this particular stage.
No malicious activity or intent at this particular stage is kind of weird. Now, you notice there's a lot of like weird sort of caveating where, again, where you would expect to see instead sort of much broader pronouncements, right? You'd say things like, we have no evidence that these drones, that there is a widespread unauthorized drone flights in New Jersey, right? Which is not what he said, right? They're much more targeted denials, which is kind of weird. And here's where things get kind of... So here's some of the evidence to support the White House's claim that these are just citizens of New Jersey being kind of dumb. So before we talk about that, I wanted to mention first, if you haven't picked up your StrikeGum, now is the time, guys. If you want to get it before Christmas, and listen, holiday shopping's exhausting. Baking a ton of cookies, traveling, oh my God, you're going to need your caffeine. That's why I created StrikeGum. It's an energy drink in gum form. 90 milligrams caffeine, 0 sugar. If you are looking to leave energy drinks in 2006 where they belong, you want to pivot to StrikeGum. So get your StrikeGum over on StrikeGum.com, or you can go to Amazon. Just literally go to Amazon, search StrikeGum. You can't miss us. We're the highest rated energy gum on there. And also, of course, if you want to support the channel, let YouTube know that I'm one of the legit content creators and not some unhinged maniac. You can hit that subscribe button, right? Doesn't mean you're going to get every one of my videos in your feed forever. It just means you're going to tell YouTube that, hey, I'm one of the legit creators. So thanks to you guys that have done it. And now let's get back to it. Okay. So here's some of the evidence against these drones. Here is a New Jersey state senator named Andy Kim, who said last night, I went out with local police to spot drones flying over New Jersey. Here's what I saw. He says, we went out to the Round River Valley Reservoir. We saw, officer pointed to lights moving low over the tree line. Sometimes they were solid white light. Other times they flashed red and green. He talked about them moving in clusters of 2 to 4. Saw they would move horizontally and then switch back in the opposite direction. Maneuvers that planes can't do, right? And of course, the parking lot at the reservoir had a number of cars of people coming up to take a look for themselves. Several shared with me their own stories of having seen them up close. Others described them as being the size of the hood of a car. Now, here's the thing. If you scroll down, you notice that one user says sometimes they were solid. He quotes the senator saying sometimes they were solid white light, others flash red and green. He says these are in line with what is required on manned aircraft operating at night. And he said, and he points to a diagram that says legally a green light on the right wingtip should allow you to observe, to tell you that you are seeing the front right fuselage of an aircraft. A red light on the wingtip tells you that you are viewing the aircraft's left side. And of course, a white light tells you that you are viewing the rear of the aircraft. This is exactly, and then of course, a anti-collision white or red strobe light should be visible 360 degrees from the aircraft. So, this is, of course, this is how we identify aircraft operating at night. And when you look at some of the photos, and let's see if we can pull these up here. Let's see. There's a nice little photo archive here, if I can find it. Literally, somebody was like, here's an image of all the photos of the drones that we've seen. And some of them, guys, are like, well, I'm going to be honest, they're like comically obvious that they are indeed New Jersey residents being goobers. Here we go. Here's from a New Jersey news website that they claim are the photos of the mysterious drones. Guys, I got to zoom in here. This is from the news website. They're curated to be the photos of the mysterious drones. Can you guess what this object could be? What could this mysterious drone be? With some sort of rotor up here, some kind of tail, and 2 skids. Guys, this is fairly obviously a helicopter, okay? This is not a mystery drone. This is just a fucking helicopter. Here's another one, right? Again, we're going to zoom in. And as you can see, this looks pretty obviously like manned aircraft. Again, there's wings on the tip, a 360 strobe light, exactly what you would expect based on that FAA guidance. So again, these are like pretty obvious things. Now this, again, you're seeing red, white. This says, again, a drone that they say is well above the 400-meter height FAA regulations allow. But again, you're looking at 2 skids, 2 lights underneath it. I don't know. I'd say call this a 50-50. Could be a drone. We've certainly seen, if you ever seen like a Ukrainian, like a vampire type drone. Let's see if I could show it to you. You'll see it has the same basic skid kind of setup. Right, here you go. Here's a good example of it. See, vampire drone, skids. Yeah, pretty standard kind of drone design. So, but again, those are also, this is also the skids you would expect from a helicopter. So again, not like a game changer. Here's something that again looks like it's got the, it's got some commercial aviation style markings, right? But again, this is a drone's hovering in the area, drones photographed with a Sony A7, what's that? 6 with 600 millimeter lens. So this is somebody who's, again, here, look at this. These appear to be large drones hovering in an area at high altitudes. Guys, can we please just think this through? This is obviously a fucking helicopter, right? And this, whatever could these lights be? Whatever could have this wing-like formation? Again, we're talking about aircraft in flight. So you can see that some of these photos are very clearly just commercial aircraft. Here's someone who claims the drone is disguised to look like a commercial aircraft, guys. Okay. So you can always count on New Jersey residents to take a real story and run it way beyond common sense, way beyond what makes any reasonable sense, right? When you start seeing numbers like 50 drones, 180 drones a night, right? Obviously, that's not what's really happening. But there's still a little bit more to the story because there's some problems. There's some things that have really happened around these drones. In one instance, again, this was published December 5th, one of the drones was hovering so close to the landing zone of a medevac helicopter, a life flight, that the life flight had to get diverted. A medical helicopter was flying to an accident in Branchburg Township, Somerset County, but was unable to pick up the crash victim due to drones hovering in the landing zone. 2 security officers from Raritan Valley Community College closed roads to secure the crash site to prepare for the helicopter to land. This is according to the supervisor of security at the college. But the request was canceled by the local fire captain just before 7 p.m. due to the hazardous presence of drones. He says, quote, "We never found out what the actual drones were. It's kind of a mystery. We're asking around about that, but nobody knew anything." Kind of weird. So that's, again, an official who's not going to just cancel it because there's some high-level flying happening. This is somebody who said, hey, there really were drones. This is also interesting. Multiple drones entered airspace at a New Jersey naval station. And this is according to officials at the station, right? Naval Weapons Station Earl, located in Colts Neck, New Jersey, said it was aware of the sightings in the region and continues to closely coordinate with federal and state agencies to ensure safety of our personnel and region. He said, while no direct threats to the installation have been identified, we can confirm multiple instances of unidentified drones entering the airspace above Naval Weapons Station Earl. And this is according to Bill Addison, the public affairs officer for the naval station. I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but again, I'm citing real officials here. And I just showed you that, yeah, some of these are idiots in New Jersey being like, what could it be? And it's obviously a helicopter. But it's a little hard to dismiss some of this stuff. And again, I'm a little concerned when instead of making a concrete denial, there's all of these, we don't have evidence of this. The Coast Guard doesn't have evidence that it's a foreign-based vessel launch from the sea, born from the sea. I'm like, what? Like, these are not, like, it's just not, it's not the full-throated denial that you would expect from a prepared statement like this. Does that make sense? So again, I'm going to keep you guys posted. And again, the longer this goes on without someone definitively being like, I heard the drone. It flew really low. I have this really great photo of it, right? I took it with my night vision camera, right? Like nobody has ever had night vision in their lives in New Jersey. I guarantee it, man. Some prepper has night vision, a night vision monocular who's going to try to take some pictures of this. And, hopefully we'll get to the bottom of it. But here's the thing. Here's the takeaway. Definitely, I think the White House is definitely correct. Many of these drone sightings are obviously civilian aircraft operating lawfully. But many is not all. And there is concrete evidence that drones are flown by foreign adversaries over sensitive sites, and that the US government remains like powerless to kind of stop them. It seems like there is no evidence that this is stopping. And so we kind of have to ask ourselves, is this the government just sort of trying to not embarrass itself? Or is this or is this literally just mass hysteria? Anyway, guys, I'm going to keep you posted. Thank you guys, as always. Thanks to James Sterling, Steve Moran, Doug Beck, Alan Knutson, Bastian Himmerling, Brian Kelly, Dale McCombs, James Ola, Henry Roussier, all of our Lieutenant tier members over on combatvetnews.com. Be sure to join if you're interested. And, of course, hit that subscribe button. See you guys. Cheers.